Alright, so this video will show you how to make a simple C program that'll allow you to read a text file and take out certain parts of it and count it. For instance, like if you like in this text file, if you wanted to count how many times the word "this" is in this file, it'll be able to tell you. So yeah, first thing you're gonna need is just a text file saved as .txt. Anywhere's not important just yet, but yeah. Alright. Next you're going to need to go into Code Blocks, create a new project, a console application, make sure it is C, and name it whatever you want and save it wherever just so you can remember. Next, default compiler is fine. Okay. Open up the main. Perfect. Now we got a hello world. It's wonderful. Okay, so the next thing you're going to want to do is add the text file to the project. And to do that, you're going to want to right click on, no, before you do that, it's just you go into your file explorer, you go into where you have your project saved, and you want to just drag and drop the file in, your text file that is, into your project folder. And then you come back to Code Blocks and you right click, hit add file, just make sure, and then you open up that one and everything's fine. Now it's in your project in Code Blocks. Alright, so you can get rid of hello world. And before we do anything, we'll just get this out of the way. At the top, you want to, what's it called? Add and include. Let's include the string. So string.h. Save. Okay. Next, you're gonna want to make some variables and but first, most importantly, you're gonna want an array to put the file in. So it can just be, we'll just call it text file. Oh, stupid brackets. Equals, we'll start it out at 0. Depending on how big your file is, I mean, there's always a good, to have a rough estimate. For this one, since I know it's only 10 lines, but let's say you're not sure, you can have anywhere, you think the file's anywhere from 1,000 to 5,000, overestimate. For something as simple as this, it doesn't really matter. So for this one, just to be safe, I'll make it 100, and I'll save that. Next, we want to go into the main and start on actually opening up the file. So to do that, type file, pointer, fp, save. Now we want to open it. So fp equals f open, and this is where the path of the file is. So if you did what I showed you in the beginning, the file's already in your project folder. You don't have to put a whole extension. You can just do, what did I name this? Oh yeah. So you can just do reading, well, for my file name, reading file.txt. Alright. Next, you want a comma, another quotations, and put an R. Go ahead and put a semicolon at the end of that. The R stands for reading or read. So when you open it, the file, you're only going to be reading it. You're not going to write or anything, so you don't accidentally screw up anything. There's a bunch of them. There's read, write, there's write. But yeah, for now we're just going to use R for read because we're not going to be inputting anything. So go ahead and save that. Always save often. Cannot tell you how important that is. I don't care if your program's 5 or 5,000 lines. Save, save, save. What was I doing? Oh yeah. Okay. Before we go any further, it is very smart to add this bit of code in. That will ensure that the file opens correctly. But yeah, and before we do any more inside of the main, no, not inside the main. What am I even talking about? We can go ahead and add the code that'll close it right above return 0, and that closes the file afterwards. Alright, after we get this bit of code right here, we can go ahead and add the file to the buffer. We can put the file in the array. So fgets, and the name of our array is, what did I even name this? I'm looking right at it and I can't even remember the name. Text file, and put in how big it is. So we put 100, and then FP for the file point, or whatever you want to call it. I really don't know what FP stands for. I like to call it like file path, but that doesn't even make any sense. I don't know if you can change that. It's just how I was taught, so we're just gonna leave it. Alright, now we're gonna go up and define some variables of what we want to count. So counting, I'm going to use a float just because I know some people want to see like, oh, what percentage of the program has this in it. So let's say, how many times did I use A in the program? Okay, that's one thing, but I wonder what percentage of my typing is actually using the letter A. I know it's stupid, but still. So to count how many times one constant is used, we would use float, and let's say we'll use number of, and like I said in the beginning, we'll count this. I want to go ahead and set that to 0 because we don't know how many there are. We know we used it once, but still, you don't want to say that's one. It throws off everything. Excuse me. Another good one to have, most people like to know, is how big is their file, as in like how many lines there are. So to do this, and for later on to get the percentage of how many times the letter, what percentage this is in the whole program, we're going to define an int for the total lines. So total lines equals 0. We might change that to 1 later. I just can't remember. Okay. Moving on. Save. Next thing you want to do is after the fgets down here, you want to make a while loop because that's what we're going to use to count everything. So while there's no errors. No, there's no end of line. Excuse me. You're not at the end of line in FP, and there's no errors in FP. Well, yeah. Alright, so what this while loop does is basically, while there's not an error, i.e. anything could go wrong, or until you get to the end of the line, like the last line, it's going to keep going and counting. That's how we get the counter. So we'll do the first one is the line counter. So total lines increment. So what that code is going to do is that's going to add 1 to total lines every single time. There's not an error, and it's not the end of the line. End of file. I don't know why I keep saying end of line. End of file. End of line is something completely different. And we can test that. Oh, there's one more code before that we have to put in before we test that. We have to let the while loop know that this is the last one, I guess. I don't know what I'm saying, but this works, believe me. So fgets, what is our array name again? Oh yeah, text file. Oh, this basically says it won't read. This won't read more than the 100 lines. I think. I don't know. You just need this or it's not going to work. Alright, and then outside of the while loop, we can go ahead and figure out how many. So as this is counting, it's storing it in total lines, and now we just want to print it out afterwards. So you're going to do a printf, quotes, let's see, the total number of lines is oh yeah, percent I for integers, comma, and then total lines. There you go. And that should print out the total number of lines is 5. Should anyway, if I did this right. So let's build and run. And it's 4. I was right. You do need to add 1 to total lines because X. Yeah, you need to change the total number of lines to 1 because you're starting at 1 because you have 1. By the way, I remembered what this does. This lets your this gives the null line of the I don't know. This basically makes it so your while loop doesn't go on forever, which is really strange to say because of the thing here, but whatever. Believe me, you need it. Alright, now it should say 5. And I don't know why it keeps opening up on my other screen, but yeah, total number of lines is 5. Boom. Alright, let's actually do something more fun. We can do the total number of this used. Alright, so after this, you'll want to do an if statement. If stir, if I could spell stir, then name it array, so text file, comma, parentheses. Okay, inside, not the parentheses, okay, inside the quotation marks, this is where you put what you want to do. So if you want to do a blank space, you just put a space, blank spaces. If you want to do periods, periods. Right, so since we're going to be doing this, we'll put this in there. And yeah, exclamation point not equals to 0. So while it's not equal to 0, if it's not equal to 0, do this. Okay. Now we just want to increment our number number of this. Same thing with total lines, plus plus to increment it. Boom. Save it. Scroll on down. Oh, I forgot. You might want to put you can either do this a new line after what you're typing or a new line before. So like we could put a new line here, which will put a space, or you can do whatever. Yeah. So a new line, and just because I'm lazy, copy, paste the total number of this is. I don't think it likes that. This is in the program is percent F for float, and then we do num of this. Okay, save. And if we run it, we get 1. That is wrong, because oh, right. I get you gotta put we need an or in here also, because there's capital T's too, not in there. So yeah, 1 second. Okay, after playing with this, I figured out. I don't know why it won't let me do an or for this statement. Oh. Or maybe this will work. If not, please ignore all of this. It should be 3. That's what the answer should give me. Four? One, 2, 3. Huh. Anyway, we're not going to do an or, because the way that I fixed it is so much easier, kind of. We're going to do another if statement, just to make it easy. So if, and I already got it, then we just do num of this, plus plus. Now, it should give me 3. 3 is correct. Yay. Okay. Now to do the percent. Percentage is actually not that hard, as you would think. So we start off with a printf, percentage of this. This is in the file is, you want to do percent %f. You need another float because integers don't give decimal points. Did I say that right? Yeah, right. So floats give decimals because ints don't. So you want to do, I like using another pair of parentheses just to make sure everything's right. So you want to do the number of this divided by the total lines, and that'll give you your answer. And I believe alright, so 3/5, and we can we can test this, because I don't like doing math in my head. Ugh, that's not good. 1 second. Alright, got my calculator. So, 3 divided by 5 equals 0.6. Boom. That's how you do this. It's that simple. You just get a text file, make an array, make some variables that you want, do the file, and pointer fp. fp equals fopen, and the name of the file. If you put it inside your program, or your project, you don't need, like, let's say student / all that crap. It's already there. And then you need the R for reading, and then this whole thing right here just says that the file didn't open. So let's just say I accidentally type an extra R. I go to run this, and it clearly says right there, file did not open. So I go back and I look, what is wrong with this? Oh, I forgot an R. I added an R. Let me run it again. Boom, it works. And then F gets the text file, puts it into the array, and then the while loop just says while there's not an error in FP and it's not the end of the file, add 1 to the lines, do these if statements, and F gets the text file, whatever. I still don't know what that does. And then you just print out outside of the while loop total number of lines and all that, and then when you're all done, F close FP to close the file, and then you just return 0, and that closes it. And that's it. There you go. Hope that helps.